K and then on case? Okay, thank you.
Transportation investment incompatible with ecology. New infrastructure dooms our climate, soil quality, biodiversity, land use, and countless other indirect effects on the Earth's ecological system. Rodrigue 9. The issue of transportation and environment is paradoxical in nature. Transportation activities support increasing mobility. Transport activities have resulted in growing levels of motorization and congestion. As a result, the transportation sector is becoming increasingly linked to environmental problems. With technology relying heavily on the combustion of hydrocarbons, the impact of transportation over environmental systems has increased with motorization. Next, green infrastructure just moves the environmental impact somewhere else. Turn the case, Rodrigue 9. Transportation activities contribute, among other anthropogenic and natural causes, directly, indirectly, and cumulatively to environmental problems. Establishing environmental policies for transportation thus have to take account of the level of contribution and geographical scale. Otherwise, some policies may just move the problems elsewhere and have unintended consequences. So basically, if you do their plan, they say they're going to solve for the environment here in the United States, so we're going to be able to stop CO2 emissions and things like that. However, it's not going to completely stop, because then they're also going to have to build the new infrastructure, and that also causes pollution. So their anthropocentric view is focused on this. It's not focused on saving the environment. It's more focused on saving themselves and saving humans by themselves. Next, going on to environmental crisis. Anthropocentrism causes every major environmental crisis till 2000. Anthropocentric values systems are not suitable to the task of developing a comprehensive environmental ethic. Anthropocentric assumptions have been shown to be largely responsible for current environmental crisis. Cast a dim light on any theory that is informed by such assumptions. An environmental ethic requires a significantly wide range of focus. It should consider the interests of a wide range of beings. Has been shown that anthropocentric approaches do not entertain the notion that non-human entities can have interests independent of human interests. Next, environmental ethics first. Environmental ethics must come first. Shumur 99. Western philosophical tradition tends to concentrate on subtleties of epistemology, considering ethics to be on different, less rigorous grounds, when not ignoring it entirely. This separation of head from heart is common to classical thoughts. Westerners are people who miss the forest for the trees, that is, miss the very important things in life while amassing technological and scientific know-how. Next, we are reaching the brink. Human destruction of environmental will lead to environmental crisis unless we reevaluate our values. Civil 2000. We are enveloped in a world comprised of air, earth, water, plants, animals, and constructed artifacts. As we occur in the world together with our surroundings, we form part of the environment. Located within the environment, humankind has grown and developed socially and economically to a point that if present trends continue, the Earth's natural system will be impoverished within less than a century. So please cross-apply this to the Ankis on their environmental advantage, because they're solving this in an anthropocentric. They're trying to solve for the environment in an anthropocentric way. And when you solve something in an anthropocentric way, you're not actually solving for the environment. Next one is capping. As to the permutation, reform of capitalism fails. Capitalism will always regenerate. Parallel 2004, capitalism must be explicitly refused. This constitutes war fought on a daily basis on the level of everyday life. Next, another answer to their permutation. Single-use campaigns like the affirmative are nothing more than masking reforms that sustain the system, and the only escape from capitalism is the total destruction. Anything less only serves to promote it. Parallel 2006, the single-issue campaigns. We cannot destroy capitalism with single-issue campaigns, yet the great bulk of the energies of radicals is spent on these campaigns to preserve the forest, keep rent control, stop drug testing, stop racism, stop sexism, stop World Bank, stop corporations. What we are doing is spending our lives trying to fix up a system which generates evils far faster than we can ever eradicate them. Next, as to the transition wars. Transition wars from hegemony are inevitable. Only in a world of capitalism, its contradictions will force America to go to war with the rest of the planet. Amin 2000, this vision of an unipolar world is being increasingly opposed by that of the multipolar globalization, and the only strategy that would allow different regions of the world to achieve accepted social development. So basically they're arguing that there's going to be transition once we get away from capitalism. However, that shows how ingrained capitalism is to the point that we're going to be going towards just if we get rid of it. So we need to start getting rid of capitalism before it gets more ingrained. And next, extend our alternative rejection. Capitalism has reached a legitimacy crisis that makes it vulnerable to rejection. So right now it's the perfect time to get rid of capitalism. First of all, by rejecting it. First, by rejecting the affirmative plan because it is capitalistic link infrastructure investment. Infrastructure projects are enablers of capitalistic consumption, cannoli 12. The target should be reconstituting patterns of consumption. By the infrastructure of consumption, I mean the support of market systems such as the national highway system of airports that enable modes of consumption in the zones of travel, diet, energy use, health, and education. To shift the world would reduce inequalities. Perhaps the citizen goal would be to reduce inequality by reforming significant shifts in the patterns of consumption. Next, capitalism bad, impact war. Capitalist globalization will cause endless war. Shrewsbury 2006. Globalization is now used as a cover for endless war. Countries are designated as rogue regimes to the extent that they fail to assimilate into global capitalism. Globalization then has been represented as a natural economic order and one connected inextricably to the forces of democracy and civilization. Globalization, as described by its advocates, thus suggests a natural neutral process, one which a larger global family looks out for each other's members' interests, and where powerful nations teach at a cost those who are economically backward the ways of the world. Next, going on to capitalism bad environment. Capitalism is the root cause of environmental destruction. Sweezy 2004. As far as the natural environment is concerned, capitalism perceives it not as something to be cherished, enjoyed, but as means to the ends of profit making. The essential drive of the economic system has generated the present environmental crisis. So if we enact this kind of in a capitalistic mindset, we're also going to be ruining the environment, and that kills our whole solvency. Because if we're acting this plan in a capitalistic mindset, we're not caring about much of the nature or anything like that. We're caring about more of the profits. So, like for example, capitalists don't really care about nature. They just care about, they look at a tree and they say, oh, that's not a tree, that's free paper, that's a way to make profit. Next, going on to their own case, please extend our Smith 2008 card. No, please, going to on case, please extend our Council of Foreign Relations 2012 card. It's saying that the reason we're not competitive is not because we don't have mass transit. The reason we're not competitive is because we have low education and things like that. That causes us to have bad competitiveness compared to other countries where their education levels are way greater than ours.
Is your partner up to 690?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you read anything about the federalism answers?
My partner's going to be answering everything on it.
Okay, I have a question quickly. For CapTate, since where does it say anything about our mass transit system? It doesn't say anything about mass transit.
Specifically on.
It's more of a general thing on.
So I have a question. Since mass transit, once again, it's like, since our target audience would be around people with like poor income families because they can't afford cars, obviously, then wouldn't that not promote capitalism at all, since we're actually making people have an equal opportunity for job access?
No, because you guys aren't doing this for the poor people. You guys aren't doing this for the minorities. You guys are doing this to make profits and doing this in a capitalistic mindset. Where in the end,
and doesn't that solve for your spending this time? Never mind. On your
okay, what's your alternative to your advocate?
Alternative to our advocate is to.
and also
What's your alternative?
Alternative is basically to reject an anthropocentric view and yes.
Okay, say you reject it, what are you gonna do to solve the global warming and the climate change?
Well, first of all, get rid of the anthropocentric view of thinking.
Okay, say we already reject it, then what are we gonna do next?
Then we start taking action.
did you say anything about that?
But how would it solve climate change?
What methods are you taking to stall for climate change?
The reason for bad climate change, the reason for bad environmental destruction, the reason for all that is because we have an anthropocentric
Did you
view.
have a
If
card?
we're able to stop that, then we're able to
Sorry.
stop it.
Did you have a card specifically saying that your all will work
In
in your speech?
I believe so. I
Can you
think we
figure
have
it out?
cards.
And also, could you give me the card saying why exactly mass transit links into your andro-K?
A mass transit.
Because everything you're reading right now is generic, and it never even mentions mass transit.
Because is mass transit not infrastructure? It's transportation infrastructure, which is.
But then your cards themselves your cards also start listing things, but mass transit is not within the list.
You guys didn't even state a specific mode of what's called mass transit, so I can't really give you such specific things saying that mass transit, because you guys said you guys include buses, you guys include airports, you guys include all these other things, but you guys never said a specific thing, so we have to go generic.
And also, wait, can we find a card that we asked